back. The Supreme Court of India has adjourned the hearing of the Class 12 board exam matter till Monday, May the 31st. The plea sought for the cancellation of the Class 12 CBSE and ICSE board exams. Now, the lives of many students at the moment hang in balance, but the delayed board exams and the delayed announcement of results has impacted one particular section of students and impacted them pretty badly. Study abroad aspirants have written to the CBSE as they worry about the delayed 12th board results impacting their admission to foreign universities. Students who've applied abroad claim that they've been left in a lurch. These students say that if the board exam results are in fact or the official passing certificates are in fact issued towards the end of July or the beginning of August 2021, many of these students could actually lose their standing offers with universities abroad. Let's hear it from the stakeholders. We have Aryan Jalota from the Shri Ram School in Gurgaon, Sinchan Jha, class 12 students from the Shamrock Senior School in Mohali, Yashraj Sharma, class 12 student also from the Shri Ram School in Gurgaon. We're joined by Jitin Chawla, who is a career counsellor. Thank you all very much for being with us. If I can begin by asking you, Aryan, tell us what the big dilemma for students like yourselves is at the moment.
Yeah. So, first of all, I don't want to speak just because I'm a study abroad applicant. The thing is that the education ministry here is trying to conduct exams in the middle of a pandemic. And it's not surprising that just 4 weeks back, we experienced the peak effect of the second wave. And I had friends like in 12th standards whose parents and grandparents were affected by COVID-19 and they lost their lives. And you know, like in this situation, I feel that it's becoming very hard for us to, you know, like give boards and to appear for boards, not because we are foreign applicants, but because of the health concerns that surround this, you know, this matter. So this is what I had to say.
All right. So you're saying that there has been a mental health impact of what we have been through in the last few weeks that continues to stay. There are people who've lost their lives, people who've lost loved ones, how they expected to appear for board exams. That's a fair point. But I just want to, because we've of course debated the pros and cons of conducting board exams, you know, at this time. We've debated that on several shows here on NDTV. I want to specifically focus on the study abroad community because this is a section of students that actually stand to lose a lot. One can expect universities and admissions in India to understand the timelines and respect those timelines, but universities abroad may not be that willing. Sinchan, do you want to come in here?
Yeah, sure. So I'd like to start by saying that Rohit Kumar, a 16-year-old boy in Bihar, lost his life because he went in high temperature to give the exams. Now, the futility of exams can be simply understood from this point of view. I, on the behalf of students, very politely request the politicians to see themselves from our opinion. Like, for instance, imagine yourself sitting in an examination center and an invigilator comes in and announces that there are only 5 minutes left for the exam to get over. I know for a fact that my gloves that I'm wearing is preventing me from writing smoothly. And I also know that the mask that I'm covering my face with is making me suffocate, considering it's 41 degrees outside in North India and I'm giving my paper in the month of June and July. So what basically happens is that I am bound to defy these norms so that I can complete that piece of paper. And why do I do that? Is because I'm being bred and raised in a society that prioritizes my academic qualification over my mental and physical health, which is something that is not the hour of the need of the hour. And above all, the impact has been greatly spaced on the part of the stakeholders who are applying for colleges abroad, as we cannot expect the curriculum that has been issued by foreign universities to go in coordination with the curriculum that has been issued by the Indian government. If we are seeing that there has been a success of the cancellation of A-level exams in United Kingdom and other countries, and they have been taking the method of alternative assessment, and there has been a success rate, then I don't know why the government is so adamant and in constant denial that this is something that will help them, and why can't we go
very important points. Sinchan, I think you raised very important points, and I think those are concerns of the student community at large. But let me bring in Yashraj Sharma, and Yashraj, once again, tell us specifically about, you know, students like yourselves who are aspiring to go and study abroad in universities. Does this timeline of results being declared, perhaps being declared as late as August, How does this impact your admission abroad?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. As an incoming freshman at a US university, our offers aren't necessarily just unconditional. Some of us have gotten conditional offers, and we need to have those grades at least a month before we're actually expected on campus. And most US universities as well as UK colleges tend to open around August, September. So a month before that would be like July, right? And if we don't have our marks by then, we might not even be able to submit any mark sheet, and we might have our offers rescinded. That's, I think, a major concern for study abroad applicants, one thing that I am focusing on myself completely. But apart from that, I do agree with what Aryan and Sinchan had to say. Giving these exams under the stress of meeting a conditional for a prestigious university abroad, atop of that, having to do it under COVID norms isn't going to let us perform at an optimum level. And that might hinder our further progress, because if you do realize, these are pretty competitive universities.
Well, absolutely. And I think two important points there. One, of course, on the fact that both physically and emotionally these exams are going to be challenging if at all they are held in the offline mode. And the other important point is, whether these timelines for the results to be announced in India, whether that would actually, lead to many students losing their offers, because a lot of these are conditional offers that are based on board exams results. We also have Jitin Chawla on the broadcast. Mr. Chawla, what would you advise at a time like this? Do you think universities will take exceptional cases? There'll be a lot of children in India whose board exam results will be delayed.
I would look at like three perspectives. First, people like us, we have been writing to a lot of universities trying to elicit. Also, we are a member of a lot of international forums and like Pi Education and others, where we are getting inputs on a regular basis. So like countries like Netherlands, some of my organization, we send people all over the world. So Netherlands has said absolutely that if you are not able to do it by this date, by July, then no admission.
Then no admission. Yeah.
No admission. US, UK are more flexible, I would say, though it still depends on which universities. So few universities have said that, look, we know how the situation in India is, and we are willing to look at it. But as has been rightly pointed out, semesters start off from September. So I don't think they would delay. UK already has announced they have already completed a certain amount of vaccination, and they intend to complete it by July. And UK is going to throw its door open. Australia, there's a bit of a trouble. Even last year, our students could not go. This year also, the borders are closed. In fact, last year, some students joined.
But are offline classes happening? Aren't students mostly attending classes online?
So people attended, but even last year this happened, and that's a concern area.
Right.
Because one of my students, she joined masters. She thought first year I'll do online, and second year then I'll go and be at the campus. See, why does a student join a foreign university? To be on the campus, to be with students from 50-60 countries.
Yes.
But Australia did not open its border. In fact, they're so strict about their own citizens coming back to their country.
Absolutely.
So, and with the COVID thing rising from India, again, that's a concern. But generally speaking, my advice to the students and parents has been two things. One, look at alternative options. So maybe keep two countries open. Don't be just get up on one country. Second, look at options in India also. So have some application. In fact, today morning, I have a student who has got into UK top universities.
Okay.
But we help him apply to India as well.
Important to keep your options open, and options in terms of not just different universities, but also different countries, because study abroad will also be determined on very localized COVID-19 rules and regulations. Aryan, if I can come back to you, have universities been forthcoming looking at the COVID-19 situation in India? Have students like yourselves been in touch with universities?
Yeah, so personally, I've applied to a US university, and I'll be probably going to a US university. So yes, they have been flexible. In fact, they are telling us that they are closely monitoring the situation. But right now, there's no clarity as such. So we're just waiting for the board, the 12th board, to really, the ministry to take a call on this.
Right.
And then we can decide further.
I also want to ask, Sinchan, another important point that you raised in the beginning was the fact that there is still no alternative mechanism for grading that has been figured out in the absence of exams. Is that at all a consideration for foreign universities?
Well, yes, definitely there has been a concern in terms of how the marking will go on at both national and international level, and we expect the government to form a committee in order to address the similar situation. And I personally feel that this is something that is not the duty of the central government, but also the states need to give a similar amount of contribution, and they need to form an assessment method. I think the best experience can be taken, the best knowledge of the situation and how the examination marking should go on should be taken by learning from the experiences of different countries, because some top level education systems have introduced alternative methods, and there are human proctoring system, and there are excellent test methods. I have applied for universities in India and abroad as well. I have given their entrance tests, and there have been very good assessment methods. I think the board can also go for the same.
But Mr. Chawla, before I come to you, very quickly, Yashraj, this alternative method of actually appearing for a written examination instead of your admission being based on your class 12 result, is that happening a lot?
So a perspective that I have is that unlike the Indian educational system, the US, UK and a lot of other countries just don't depend on one exact set of exams. They require us to have a high school diploma which is dependent on our boards, but they don't necessarily need us just to get, a 99% to get an offer from like a DU college. It's pretty holistic, and they look at 9th grade through 12th grade for most cases. So what most colleges are doing is, some of them, in fact, especially in the US, are calling us to campus, and if we haven't given our exams, they're gonna make us do additional courses and just do a lot more work.
Well, what I remember, at least from my time, was that we got provisional admissions, and then the final admission was dependent on, well, in my case, the university results. Mr. Chawla, I have 30 seconds. You wanted to come in.
Yeah. So I see a very good solution. Ideally, one should take last 3 exams. I mean, a board like CBSE should come out with a formula like they have done it for 10th class also, because that's the way they can immediately
But can they do it quickly enough, Mr. Chawla? That's the question. Can these results be handed over to students quickly enough so that their admissions don't suffer?
It can be. It can be. And I'm sure, a lot of universities outside India are much more flexible, surprisingly, compared to our own Indian universities. So it can be done quickly, and it should be done that way. And we should not have any exams. I think I support the students have been saying it. So I don't think in this situation, because 1 month back it was such a scary situation, and today we should not have young people.
Multiple factors need to be considered, but this is a section of students who have secured provisional admissions to universities abroad. Now questions being asked on whether they will get their grades on time to be able to avail of those offers. We sincerely hope that the government finds solutions, and solutions fast. Thank you all so much for sparing your time and being with us on NDTV. We'll keep a close watch on this story.